My name is Roger Armstrong. I was born a psychic child in 1930. Protective intention attached. PIA, to prevent misuse. Hello, this is psychic training number 4 and is the telepathic communication and visiting the great Buddha energy. I go to a food co-op in Ashland, Oregon. That's where I live. And in the co-op, a lot of very young mothers go there and get their organic food. And they have kids anywhere from 6, 7 months in the grocery cart to a brother or sister, 3 years old, 5 years old. And I'll say to the mother, you know your kids are telepathic. You know, I'm in grocery stores. I use the electric cart. I can walk okay, but I can't walk long distances. And anyway, so they look down at me and they laugh and they say, "You bet they are." She said, "I wasn't with my first, but I am with the other two. And boy, it sure is nice to know what they want. And I don't have to guess anymore." And now the older girl is telepathic too, and here she comes now. She sent her telepathic to go out and get a cereal, and was reviewing the cereals and brought the cereal back. So it's encouraging that more and more people are understanding and accepting the abilities. And I say, "Are they kinetic yet?" And she says, "I don't encourage that as much as I should," she said. But later on, she said, I will focus on developing that when they can walk a little bit better, when the youngest can walk a little bit more. So people are getting more and more aware of it all. Interesting that that of late, more and more teenage kids are becoming more aware of telepathic communication. It seems that you have a very young group that continues to pick it up when they were very young, like I did at 2.5 and 3. And then you have another group that comes along when they're preteen. And then you have another group that comes along when they're 16, 17. And then it jumps to 23, 25, and then it jumps again into 30s, 38, 40, and then it stabilizes with a high rate of people in the 45, 50 on up range. The whole idea of, well, we call it a oneness. When I'm in the woods and I'm opening my mind and sharing pictures and emotions with the plants and the trees and the squirrels and the birds and the mice and all of the woods people, there's a contentment of oneness that is rather extraordinary. And I think it's what we are meant to, this is a state we're meant to be in. And how we got, or why we got off of that development, I'm not sure. I suspect that it was people who, for some reason or other, were closed off from these abilities and then became greedy and started taking advantage and sent us on another path. Let's go back to the square. What I'd like to do is, I've got a timer here, and I'd like to set the timer for 5 seconds and focus on one of the forms. Now, whether you're pulling it up into a pyramid or whether you're pushing it into a hallway, it doesn't make any difference. But see if you can hold that pulling or hold that pushing for 5 seconds. All right, start now. There, that wasn't very long. You're able to do it, I assume. All right, let's try 10 seconds. This square is going to be at the bottom of the page. Dave, my webmaster, is going to arrange it so this one and several others you'll be able to download, so you'll be able to practice this at home. It's good to do this for a while, maybe get up to 20 seconds, and then stop and rest and have an intention that you're going to close your eyes and relax, that you aren't going to use any psychic abilities. I've had some people do this without an intention, and they ended up different places. I mean, they had a remote viewing or an out-of-body where one gal was in a high desert, and she thought that she would just practice a little bit, and she wanted to do some kinetic stuff, so she was stacking some rocks up on top of each other, and a couple come over the hill and say, "What are you doing on our land?" And she said, "Your land?" And they said, "Yes, this is our ranch in Arizona, and you're about a half a mile from the house, which is on the other side of the hill. And this is part of our pasture land, and it's very sandy, but it's still in this part of Arizona. This is, you know, relatively good ranch land." She says, "Oh, I'm sorry." And she said, "How did you get here?" "Well, my transport is just the other side on the other hill." "Oh, okay. Why are you here?" "Well, I just stopped to look and see. It looks so pretty." And she started talking with a lady, and the lady said, "Well, come back whenever you want, but stop in the house and let us know that you're here." So I said, she told me the story, and I said, "Did you take any souvenirs with you?" She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Did you put some sand or a small stone in your pocket?" And she said, "No, I never thought of that." Well, next time you go out, do that. And then you'll know if you were actually teleported to that place or whether you just did an out-of-body exploration. Because all of those could be possible. Another young man ended up obviously an out-of-body, and he was in another person's bedroom, a young boy's bedroom, and there were planets hanging from the ceiling and spaceships around, and the whole room had like a spaceship theme. And he said, "Oh my gosh," and said, "Return, like I recommend when you have any of these experiences." And he came back to where he was. Anytime you go out of body, and that's actually detaching from your body and going off on adventures that you control, or whether you're teleporting or remote viewing, you still have control of it all. And anytime you want to go back, you just say, "Return," and you will return, and you'll be fine. So when you're working out with a square, have an intention so you aren't surprised by going someplace you don't expect. But if you do, don't panic or anything. Just play detective and see if you can tell where in time or space you are. Because you could be in the future, you could be in the past. Now, even though this young man wasn't married, He could have visited his son's room 15, 20 years in the future. All things are possible. That's kind of scary, because there's a responsibility when you are in control of all things. When I was in the service in the Korean War, I visited a place called Kamakura. And it's an island in Japan that was the winter headquarters of the emperor. Very extensive grounds, well taken care of, just beautiful, lots and lots of cherry trees. That's where the whole idea of the cherry trees being all over Japan came from. They aren't all over Japan, but they certainly are at this point. And on the grounds, there's a bronze Buddha. It's quite large, 20 foot tall. It's made of individual plates that are about 18 by 24, and they're bronze. And there's a sign on it, on the Buddha, that says this was repaired in 1492 by an earthquake. It gives you an idea of its age. To the left of the Buddha is a ginkgo tree, traditionally. To the right of the Buddha is the tree of life. So my friends, I was with a group of friends, and they said, all right, we'll meet back here in 45 minutes at the ginkgo tree. And I said, fine. So I went and did some sketching, a little photography, came back way early, sat down and leaned my back up against the ginkgo tree, which was quite a large one. And before I knew it, I was standing in front of a large white light with a group of other people. And I peeked, and I had like a monk's robe on with a hood that came down over my face. So I could look straight ahead, but I couldn't look side to side very much. But anyway, I peeked, you know. And there were this group of people. And there were about, 12, 15, 20 of us. And a voice said, a masculine voice actually, said, "You are here so we can ask questions and get answers." This is Roger Armstrong, and I'm always interested in your comments.